Ayan, Zayan, Alina, and Sara were best friends who loved adventures. One weekend, they planned a picnic at a remote hill station. They packed food, tents, and a speaker for music, excited for a fun trip. As they drove through the dense forest, the road became narrow and misty. The GPS started glitching, and suddenly their car engine sputtered and died. "This place feels strange," Sara whispered, shivering. Ayan checked his phone. No signal. "We'll camp here for the night and fix the car in the morning," he suggested. The group set up their tent near an abandoned wooden house. As the sun set, a cold wind blew, and the forest became eerily silent. Part 2: The House of Shadows. After dinner, they decided to explore the house. The wooden door creaked open, revealing dusty furniture and old portraits on the walls. A huge mirror stood in the hallway, its glass slightly cracked. "Let's take a selfie," Alina laughed. They all gathered in front of the mirror and clicked a picture. But when they checked the photo, their faces looked distorted, eyes hollow, mouths stretched unnaturally. Worse, a fifth shadowy figure stood behind them. "What the hell is this?" Zayan gasped. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind them. The temperature dropped and whispers echoed through the house. Part 3: The game begins. A child's laughter echoed from upstairs. Then a chilling voice whispered, "Let's play a game." Sara screamed as her reflection in the mirror moved on its own, grinning wickedly. The lights flickered, and the floor creaked as unseen footsteps approached. Ayan grabbed a flashlight and pointed toward the staircase. A small girl in a torn white dress stood there, her head tilted. Her black eyes were empty, soulless. "You played in my house. Now I'll play with you," she giggled. Suddenly, Zayan was yanked backward by an invisible force, dragged across the floor. He screamed as bloody handprints appeared on his shirt. Alina clutched Sara's hand. "We need to get out." Part 4: The Escape. Ayan kicked the door, but it wouldn't budge. The girl's voice sang eerily, "Ring around the roses, you can never leave." Desperate, Sara grabbed a rusty old book lying on a table and flipped through it. The pages were filled with rituals and spells. "Here, we need to say this incantation," she shouted. They held hands and chanted the words loudly. The house trembled, the mirrors cracked, and the girl let out a piercing scream before vanishing into thin air. The door flung open, and they ran out, panting. Behind them, the house groaned and crumbled into dust. Their car suddenly roared back to life. Without looking back, they jumped in and sped away. Part 5: The Last Surprise. Hours later, they reached the city, still shaken. As they sat in silence, Ayan pulled out his phone. "We need to delete that selfie," he muttered. But when he opened the gallery, the photo was still there. Only now, the shadowy figure